right now. So thank you for your presence and thank you for your time. Um, this is going to be a very deep dive and highly content-oriented webinar where I intend to give my own perspectives and how NLP has helped me in dealing with the four major problems that we are going to talk about. So once again, I welcome you to the webinar. Uh, Quickly, if I am audible and visible, please type in the chat box, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let me share the screen here. Okay, let's start. So the four major problems that keep people stuck. The four major problems that keep people stuck in their career and business, and how to deal with them using NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming. That's a topic today. And I want this program to be, I would say, as interactive as possible. I'll give you space and time to stop and ask me questions. If you have any questions in between, you can just unmute and ask me questions. That's quite okay with me because I believe in tapping the group wisdom. So that would be very useful for all the participants in the group. So if you feel that you need to ask any questions, please stop me and ask me questions. I'll also give you some time and space in between, right? Critical areas to ask, to allow you to ask questions. And we can also have a dedicated question and answer session at the end. So who am I? Basically a mechanical engineer with around some 20 years of industrial executive experience. I was working in a government organization. I was happy being an engineer, but the pull towards the psychology part, trying to understand human beings, try and understand what they do, what makes them tick, and why do they don't do certain things in spite of big push. So all those things were building lots of curiosity in me. I did my psychology courses, I did my MSc in counseling and psychotherapy, and then NLP happened in my life, and then that was a very powerful turning point when I look back. That has been really, I would say, a great moment in which I've been able to dig deep, explore myself more and more, and make very critical decisions in my life. So that happened some 11 years before, and then I quit my job and started my own corporate training organization by the name Excel HR. And now we have grown into a team of around 4 trainers who are associates with me, and we do lots of training programs pan India, even during these pandemic times, right? We have been doing programs online. So I have more than 1,200 days of corporate training and more than 1,000 hours of one-to-one coaching, because I firmly believe the push of NLP is entrepreneurial in nature, and it's more of one-to-one, so that you give space and time for trying to understand your clients. So I have done more than 1,000 hours of one-to-one coaching, executives, business owners, and individuals from various walks of life. I have directly reached out to more than 25,000 people through my training and coaching programs. I have indirectly reached out many more through my webinars, online programs, and knowledge sharing sessions on many television channels and magazines. As about me, I'll keep it as little as possible, because just by talking about my mission, I just want to give you some insights about NLP. So that's why I am indulging in these slides. So my mission, I help individuals and executives and entrepreneurs create breakthroughs in their lives. So this, dear friends, I think is a very important keyword, particularly when it comes to NLP. So generally, you would appreciate the fact that our life doesn't progress linearly, right? If you can take a look back, you would find that there have been some plateaus, and then there has been breakthroughs, and then more plateaus, and then breakthroughs, and then plateaus, and then breakthroughs. So I would say these are critical points, right, where we have been able to create some breakthroughs. Maybe it's a new opportunity, it's a new job, it's a new place, it's a new business, new branch, right? Whatever it is, there have been certain breakthroughs which help us take our life to the next level, where we can consider ourselves to be more successful and more value giving. So breakthroughs are, I personally feel, essential. Otherwise, life becomes dull and boring. So I help executives, entrepreneurs, and individuals who feel that they have been plateauing too much, and they would like to go to the next level, but they may not be having the tools, and they may not be having the sounding board, right? A different perspective to look at what is happening in their lives and give them some, help them get some insights. So how do I do that? I do that by challenging the existing thinking processes and limiting the belief system. So these are the two key areas in which NLP really works, right? We are habitual, I would say, beings, right? We lots of conditioning is there, and we most of the times, right? People say we react more, almost more than 90% of our times in our lives, right? We keep reacting. We are very conditioned. So definitely what has helped us to reach up to this level may not be helping us to go to the next level. So there is some, I would say, a particular status quo that has happened in our processes, thinking processes. We call that as patterns. So patterns are nothing but repeated behaviors, and generally NLP identifies, by the way, NLP is Neuro Linguistic Programming. I'll talk about the basics to give you an idea. So there are generally, right, NLP identifies three types of patterns: patterns in thinking, patterns in language, and specific patterns in behavior. Of course, the behavior patterns are easily identifiable. We'll be able to see the person behaving. And of course, to some extent, we'll also be able to understand the language pattern, because language patterns are nothing but repetitive word structures, repeating again and again in very specific context. So these are the generally the three patterns: patterns in thinking, patterns in language, and patterns in behavior. And the more we are able to create small changes, even small changes in these patterns, then we'll be able to get different results. So I help people to get breakthroughs by challenging the existing thinking processes and limiting belief systems. I also help them to access their own inner resources. This is again a very significant word in NLP: own resources. Again, this is pretty significant. And the more I'm able to internalize this, I find it very, very useful. Because if someone comes to me and says that I'm not confident enough in front of my boss, it doesn't mean that he's really confident. He doesn't know what is confident. Definitely not the case. He may be confident amongst his friends. He may be confident in other contexts, but when it comes to the context in which he has a boss, then maybe at that particular time, he's not able to access the resource of being confident. So NLP believes that people already have all the resources we need. One of the pretty fantastic evidence is the childlike state. When we were children, we were full of confidence. We were able to get what we want, and we are expressing ourselves uninhibitedly. So we're able to get so many things. And as we become more of, as we travel more of adulthoods, maybe our patterns got very frigid and rigid. And definitely they would have been of use to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be holding them. So they had been of use to us, but now they have outlived, they might have outlived their utility value, and it's time to replace them. So I also help them identify this, right? It's not that that the resource itself is absent. What do I mean by a resource? Being confident is a resource. Being curious is a resource. Ability to take risk is a resource. Ability to listen is a resource. Ability to be assertive is a resource. So those resources we already have within us. Only thing is we need to come up with some strategies of accessing those resources at appropriate times. I also help them set that particular word, right, which is I would say a much spoken word, the vision, right? Vision need not be just for corporates, it also need to be for individuals, right? NLP focuses very much, puts very much importance on this word of having a vision, because the word vision and the purpose brings in more meaning into our life and makes it more enjoyable, right? So these are the areas, and I also help them as a coaching partner. I help them to gently but firmly move out of their comfort zones, right? This is pretty important, and explore their full potential. So NLP looks at life as a journey of exploration, the continuous exploration. You would have heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I find NLP in complete alignment with digging deep into ourselves, identifying our competences. I firmly believe there is a big, I would say, gold mine there. And so the more we dig, the more we are able to come up with wonderful resources through which we can create value. So these are the ways in which I help my clients, my creed is based on awareness, because I firmly believe without awareness, transformation is not possible. So at some level, we need to become aware of our own self. We need to look at ourselves as a third person, try and understand what is happening inside, because we are the best judge of ourselves. No one can judge us better than us, because experiences are happening to us. There is a, I would say, very intrinsic meaning to life as it happens to us. We are the best judge of our lives. So becoming aware of what is happening and how are we dealing with that is the bed, the rock bed of awareness. And with that, without that, transformation doesn't happen. And then also, right, there is no awareness, advices will not work. Right. So that's why a statistic says that almost 95% of advices are not followed. So when someone advises, maybe because of the status quo, because of the hierarchy, we might tend to say, yes, I would do that. But in reality, right, there might be a hidden question back in our minds. Is easy for you to advise and pick off, but it's very difficult for me to actually adhere to that exercise, because what is happening in my life, you don't even have a clue about it. So that would be the back mind, the chatter in the back mind. And for that to happen, we need to become very, very aware of the, I would say, the potentials, right? How else things could be done. And that is the awareness part. And from the awareness part, right, we come up with choices. This is again a very, very significant NLP principle, because freedom, as per NLP, is our ability to have more choices. The more choices we have, the more free we are. So that is a very interesting definition. NLP is all about bringing in more personal choices in our lives. So that is a very interesting NLP definition. So NLP focuses on what are the other choices that the person could have. And thereby, the very important distinction between a victim comes into picture. Who is a victim? Victim is a person who feels that he or she doesn't have any choices. So a victim is considers that there are no choices. I have to go through this. I have to undergo this. There is nothing else I can do. Whereas a victorhood is our ability to create more choices and choose what is the most appropriate one in a given context. So it's like making a, I would say, a choice between a set menu and a buffet menu. So set menu is right. What someone else is deciding and cooking and serving in his or her own preference. It's more like right, working for someone else's goals, whereas a buffet could be right, bringing in more choices. Right, we can look at life as a set menu or a buffet menu. So that's a freedom aspect, and the third aspect is the purpose, right? Bringing more meaning to this process, the dominant called as life. So that why is meaning important? The meaning makes the life more exciting, and it can give a sense of fulfillment. So, so these are the when I self coach myself, and also when I coach my clients. Right, the basic idea is how can I bring in more awareness? How can more choices be created? And how to choose a most appropriate choice based on the long-term purpose, right? So these are the ways in which I work when I self-coach, and also I coach my clients. So my core belief, the best business in the world is the business of working on ourselves, right? There is so much potential there. The more we dig, the more we find. And for this, the business, for this is the business that can give multiple types, because this is one business gives you much ROI, right? If you can come up with one skill set, if you can come up with one new capability, if you can come up with one competency, then it could be a big, big, big return on investment. So quickly on the tab box, in the chat box, friends, can you type how many of you are already familiar with NLP? I just wanted to get a small idea. So if you're already familiar with NLP, please type yes in the chat box so that I can understand. Okay. Okay, friends. Thank you. Right. So I just touch the base of what is NLP. If you are interested, right, you can go to have a much deeper view of about NLP. You can visit my website. From nlp.com, where there are complimentary resources, totally free resources. There is a video, a 90 minutes video about 5 ways in which NLP can help you. And there are also ebooks available, downloadable ebooks available. So if you're interested to know more about NLP, you can visit my website and get those complimentary resources. Right now, I'll just touch the basics of what is NLP and how it can be useful to us. So neuro refers to the brain and nervous system. You would be very familiar with this word neuro, very specialized cells in the human body, very, very specialized cells. And these are the mental pathways of our 5 senses by which we see, hear, feel, taste, and smell. Right? These are very, very important. Unless there is without a central nervous system, we will not be able to have any experiences. So something very special about neurons are they are, I would say, the latest to replace cells. Some other cells in the body, right? They may die fast and they are replaced very fast. Uh, Even the stomach cells in our stomach lining, they just said that they die every day and they are being replaced. Even the skin cells, right? They also die fast and are being replaced. It is generally said that within a span of 6 months, we are completely new, except for the neurons, right? The neurons are the first to come, last to go. Even when the embryo is formed, the neurons start existing, they come into being, and they are there, right, till our death. Of course, I understand there might be some neuron degenerations, but overall, when you compare it with other cells in the body, neurons have a pretty long life because they are doing a very, very two important things, which other cells, I don't think they are able to do that. The first is registering our memories. Right? The memories are there in our nervous system, and they also hold on to our identity. To answer the question, who am I? Right? So these are the two important functions, very, very important functions of neurons. And maybe this is the reason that they exist so long when compared to other cells in the body. So our nervous system is the basis for all our experiences. Right? Without the nervous system, we'll not be able to have any experience of this external world as it has happened. The second is a linguistic. Linguistic means language, something related with the language. Refers to the language and how it affects us. Now, the first is when there is an experience, something is happening, either positive or negative, something is happening. The question is, what do we do with that? Since we have a, I would say, rich faculty profile, rich linguistic profile, right? We are very competent in language, right? The language has been evolving for the past 10,000 years. And it's so, I would say, dense, rich, and it's so wonderful in a way that we are able to use the language and give a very specific meaning to that particular experience. When there is experience, we don't simply leave that, right? Because we are meaning making machines. So we need to understand that this is something very significant when you really want to understand people, because basically we are meaning making machines. Right? We can't live without meaning in a way that when something happens, we want to know the question why comes up very strong, and then we always try to bring in a meaning to fill that void. And for filling that void, we use the language. And we can also understand that the language is a medium of thinking. Without language, it will be very difficult for us to think. Of course, there might be some of us or all of us having limited amounts of visual thinking faculty. But anyhow, right, without language, most of us, right, use language very powerfully. Thinking and in thinking is actually an internal conversation which we have with our own self. It's an internal conversation. NLP calls it as an internal dialogue. It's mostly in the form of a question and answer. So when you look at a person who is sitting alone thinking, it means that he's having a conversation with himself. So without language, it is very difficult to really think, and we use language to give a meaning to the process which is called as life, to all the experiences called as life, right? The third factor in the NLP is the programming part, refers how we organize and sequence our actions to achieve specific results, and is based on the meaning which we give to the experiences. Very importantly, the programming part refers to the behavior. So behaviors are not simply random, right? They are not meaningless. They are not purposeless. All other behaviors are very specifically designed to get some very specific results, right? Behaviors are programmed to get results. So behaviors, I would say, um, uh, help us bring the status quo back. A sense of lack is found, and immediately a behavior comes out. Habitual conditioning, we can also call that, to get a very specific results. So the programming part is more or like a conditioned behavior, and we can also understand that all our actions, the main input or the insight is that all our actions are choices. Although we may not be aware that it is a choice that we are acting out, but in reality, there are so many other ways of behaving, but we specifically choose one way which we think is the most appropriate at that particular time. And it could be based on past conditioning. So they are habitual programs to get some very specific results. In a nutshell, I'll just give the philosophy of NLP by giving an example. I know this could be right, slightly like making us think deeper, but that's good, right? So I'll give in a small nutshell. I know, right? The time is limited. I'm packing more information. Again, as I said, there is a much more deeper video. There are lots and lots of literature available at NLP. I would urge you, right, to go and learn NLP, because I feel this is one of the most important tools for personal and professional experience, for personal and professional excellence, right? So let me give you an example and try and highlight this point. So the neuro refers to the experience part. In NLP, the language refers to the meaning part, and the programming refers to the behavior part. That's what we saw. Now let's take an example of employee sitting in his chair, and his boss comes up, passes him by, goes to his cabin, and every day what happens is, as soon as the boss comes in, the employee gets up from his chair and greets the boss with enthusiasm. Good morning, sir. And the boss normally wishes him back, and with a again a smile, he passes by and goes to his cabin. That's what normally happens. But on this particular day, what happens is the employee wishes, but the boss doesn't wish back. With a very stern face, he passes the employee and goes to his cabin. That's a new experience for the employee. And the employee, being a human being, being a meaning-making machine, immediately his language faculty would go overdrive and try and put some meaning. Why has this experience happened? So maybe he can come out with very many meanings. I'll give you a few examples. So one meaning is this: I made a mistake from 3 months before, and the boss has found it now. So in a few minutes, he's going to call me to his cabin and then going to blast me. That is why he didn't smile. So that could be one meaning. The other meaning could be someone has complained about me. Someone has bad mouthed about me. Someone has spoken ill of me behind my back, and the boss has believed it. And so now he is not trusting me. I have lost his trust. So that could be another meaning. That's why he didn't smile. Another meaning that the employee can give is there are rumors that the organization is going for employee reduction. So maybe I am on the list. I am about to be let go, and there is a pink slip waiting for me. I'll be getting a pink slip very soon. So these could be some of the meanings which the employee gives to that particular experience. Now we can look at the behavior. Although the behavior appears it comes from the experience, it actually the immediate cause of the behavior is the meaning part. I'll just give a few examples. The examples could be many more. And let's say if the employee strongly gives a meaning that the boss has found out his mistake, then throughout this day, what would be his behavior? His behavior would be to get ready the defense, present his justifications, get ready the defense. In case the boss asks me, how should I defend myself? His entire day would be, his entire behavior on that day would be gone towards preparing his defenses. But if he gives a meaning that someone has complained about me, then his behavior on that day would be to find out who said what and how can I build back the trust. And if he believes that I am on the list that I'm about to be let go, then maybe his behavior on that day would be to update his resume. So if we can have a deeper look at that, we can understand that the behavior comes from the meaning which we attribute to that experience. And this I find, dear friends, the basic philosophy of NLP. So we do have experiences. Experiences can be positive, it can be negative. If they are positive, quite good, no issue. But what happens when an experience is negative? That is positive. We put in effort, we put in hard work, we do whatever we have to do to try and make it more positive. If we are able to make it positive, well and good, no issues. But now the question is, in spite of our repeated efforts, in spite of our hard work, still the experience remains negative. What do we do? That is the question. So in such a case, the NLP's way of looking at would be to stop fighting with the experience. Stop fighting with the reality. So that's the reality out there. What could be the negative experience? The negative experience could be something like that. I don't want this type of boss. I don't want this type of organization. I don't want this type of job. I don't want this type of relationship. And in spite of our hard work, we might be finding that it is very, very difficult to change. In that case, NLP would ask you to look at the experience as neutral. And stop fighting with that, because right, suffering is defined as arguing with reality. The more we argue, the more we suffer, in spite of our best efforts. So at some time, right, we can choose to stop fighting with that experience and try and give a different meaning to that experience. If you're able to give a better meaning to that experience, then obviously our behaviors will become better, because the status quo cannot be maintained. When something changes, the other thing should change. If we're able to give a better meaning to the same experience, we'll be able to come out with a better behavior. And right, indirectly, the beauty is indirectly the new behavior can give you a better experience. So I feel this is something very unique, I would say, in a way, right? Very deep, I would say. That was what I meant, to try and study the status quo between these triads of experience, meaning, and behavior. So we are naturally very creative indeed. That is, I would say, one of the most important resources we have. And using our creative faculty, the fastness, can we give a better meaning to the same experience? And if you're able to give a better meaning and internalize that, our behavior automatically transforms, and it would come up with a better experience in life. So this is the NLP of way of looking at certain unchangeable experiences, which we find they are being very adamant, right, in spite of our repeated experience. So this is what Shakespeare also has said: there is nothing inherently good or bad, nothing inherently right or wrong. Our thinking makes it so. So this is about the NLP. Do you have any questions, friends? Are you with me? Please let me know. Please type in the chat box. If you're with me, if you're able to understand this, please type in the chat box yes, so that I can understand that we are on the same page. Go ahead, please. I would want you to give us small feedback, because, right, you know the limitations of an Zoom. I'm not able to see most of you. So just give me a feedback. If you're able to get this, if you're on page, please type yes. Or if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask the question. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your reply. So we'll move ahead. My perspectives about NLP. NLP brings unconscious processes into conscious awareness, and thereby helps creating more and better plans. processes, right? Most of the things are autopilot. How we react to that particular negative experience, negative adamant experience, how do we react with that? To be more at an unconscious level, we simply work, 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 work. It's like having a lock but using a wrong key. And in the name of hard work, we keep on putting on more effort into the process of unlocking with the with the wrong key, and that would really make us sweat more, make us more frustrated, and even more depressed in the process. But we'll be doing that on the unconscious level. So first, we need to understand what we need to understand is that to bring that unconscious processes into conscious awareness and asking ourselves the question, if this is not working, what else can be done? Because NLP says that if something is not working, do something else. You would also have heard that a famous phrase which says that if you continue to do the same thing again and again, you will continue to get the same results again and again. So one thing that that is in our hands is our ability to come up with a new behavior, put it into that particular equation of what is happening. And if you're able to disrupt the status quo, then obviously, right, we'll be getting something different. So unconscious processes to conscious awareness, that is a very key and integral part of NLP. NLP helps individual to set very strong and clear goals. So 4 parts here, this is called as the 4 pillars of NLP. NLP helps us to set very strong and very, very clear goals. The second pillar of NLP is about how to build rapport with people, how to connect with them at a much more deeper level. And for that to happen, we need to observe people, right? For me, listening is observing how to really be available for the other person so that we can try and understand his or her model of the world, what is actually happening there. Unless we understand them and their model of the world, how they look at the world and meet them at their model of the world, it becomes very difficult to really build a relationship. And for that, we need to be observing, right? And NLP calls it a sensory acuity, right? The more we are able to observe, the more we are able to calibrate, the more we will be able to pace and lead. And this is a very, very important skill set of NLP where we are really able to observe people and listen more deeply. And the fourth pillar of NLP is called as a behavioral flexibility. So what new behavior can I introduce into the equation? So the 4 pillars, if we repeat, strong and clear goals, beginning with the end in mind, and any process in NLP begins with a very clear outcome. Unless we have a very clear outcome, it will be very difficult to make decisions on the line. And howsoever talented you might be, you need a team to be successful, right? Either the family level or the working place level, we need to depend on people to get our objectives, right? It might be a team, but still, right? We need to depend on people. There is a long amount of interdependency, right? People help people to get goals, and the concept of shared goals are also pretty critical. And for that to happen, how to bring people in your team on the same page, you need to understand their model of the world, and you need to really observe and listen to them more deeply. And then you need to have the capability of bringing in a new behavior, a more appropriate behavior, which can help you reach the goal. So these 4 things are called as the 4 pillars of NLP. I would say it's more an execution framework. Yes, we have set goals, but how do we actually put that into practice? How do we get our hands dirty? How do we get into the execution mode? This is a phenomenal framework, the 4 pillars of NLP. So it helps in pacing, leading, motivating, and coaching self and others. It helps reach people at their model of the world and then take over from there and start leading them, right? In the context of a family, you need to get their permission and invite before you do an NLP intervention, I would say, because that is pretty important, right? Before NLP, as I said, NLP is not about really advising. It's setting in a process. For example, there is a meta model questioning. You help them bring in more awareness. Their participation is also important. So you need to bring in people into the conversation and then take it from there. So that could be a little easier when you are working in a professional team, because they may be your team members, your subordinates, and so you can use your power to bring in them, invite them into the conversation. Whereas at a friendly level or at a family level, you need to be, I would say, more open and help them get into the conversation. So these are the two important differences between working with a family and working at a professional team level. But it is very much possible to make people get involved in the process of NLP intervention and be benefited. So how do you actually motivate and how do you coach self and others? These are other aspects of NLP which can be really useful. So how did I come to know about these 4 programs? Right? Why should I choose? These are the 4 major problems that keep people stuck in their career or business. How do I know that? I know that based on my experience with hundreds of employees and business owners who have trained actors. So these are the 4 problems that keep repeating again and again in different forms, different perspectives, different set of structures, different ways of questioning. So all these, right, all these feedbacks, all these questions that come from my clients and my clients in coaching clients or even training participants is that they tend to work around these 4 major areas. So, yeah. So what can you avoid by learning about these 4 problems, right? What is the pain that you can get rid of? That is again very important. Definitely you can avoid confusion because if you're able to deal with these 4 problems, it becomes very crystal clear about what is that we really want. And once we know what is that we really want, we can pretty avoid confusion, right? Should I do that? Should I go that way? Should I learn this? Should I switch a job or not? Should I tolerate these things more? How long to tolerate? Why is not happening to me? I have tried so many times, but again, nothing happens to me. Lots and lots of confusion could be there, and they could be avoided, right, by learning about these 4 problems. And you can avoid doubts and disbeliefs about yourself, right? So we might be putting ourselves in a comparison zone where we might be comparing ourselves with people on different timelines, right? Everyone has their own timeline. We might be seeing their successes, but we may not be seeing what did they do for achieving those successes. We don't have an even inkling idea about that. But on the outset, right, we tend to compare ourselves with people in different timelines, with different backgrounds, with different skill sets, and different attitudes, and that would put us at a disadvantage. So, but once you understand that, as I said, right, you can keep working on yourself. You are able to access the resources that you require. All those resources are in there with you, right? Once you are able to understand that more, and if you're able to internalize those things, then I'm sure, right, your doubts and disbeliefs would be dispelled. You can avoid getting caught in overwhelming emotions, right? Frustration, disappointment, jealousy, anger, lots of negative emotions that are out there that could, right, enhance the problems more or bring in more new problems. So this is one stuff which I personally believe NLP can really help in your ability to understand your emotions. We'll talk about all these 4 and how to deal with them as we go down the line. You can avoid trial and error ways of operating and shooting in the dark type of activities because, right, you can come up with very wonderful strategies. Again, there is a genius part within you. And you have a creative faculty. NLP believes that your unconscious is very powerful. It has far more data than your conscious mind. And it keeps communicating with you in terms of insights and flashes of ideas. Remember, more than 90% of the scientific discoveries. Let me repeat: more than 90% of the scientific discoveries have been from in flash of ideas. You might be struggling with a problem at a conscious level, but you may not be able to find an answer for that. But then you switch off, go and have a bath, and in the bath, right, a flash of idea could come. That's how the unconscious mind works. NLP has very powerful ways to develop our communication with unconscious mind and make it a much more present ally. And NLP offers something which is called as modeling, in which you can try and understand what make other people successful. What are the key ingredients of being successful? Is it their environment? Is it their behavior? Is it their strengths? Is it their capabilities? Is it their beliefs? Is it their values? What is their identity? And what is their purpose? So multiple levels you can model people. And once you are able to fit the success of a person in these things, let me repeat those words. They are called as neurological levels of change. We'll talk about this as we go down the line. So the environment level, at the behavior level, at the skills and capabilities level, at the beliefs and values level, at the identity level, if you're able to model persons, and it becomes a very interesting recipe. NLP in a way, right? NLP looks at success as a process. The best chef in the world makes the best cake. If we know the process and if we follow the process, we'll also be able to get a best cake. That's the concept about model. So any questions, friends? Are you with me? Please type in the chat box. I'm not sure. Please type in the chat box. Are you with me so far? Yes, Mr. Manoj, there is similarities with the landmark because I would say that NLP is nothing new, right? It has already been there in all our cultures. And that's why we say NLP is from results to theory. And what I love about NLP is those factors, those frameworks, the fantastic frameworks. Lots of frameworks. The field is exploding. Lots and lots of thinkers and influencers are creating new frameworks, which makes the application process very easy. Okay, thank you. So what will you learn in this webinar? You will learn about the 4 major problems that keep the executives and business owners stuck, and which do not permit to go to the next level. You'll also get some insights about how to deal with them. At the end of the webinar, you will also be presented an opportunity to learn at more and further deeper level. Those interested can use that opportunities. So what is the opportunity? Yeah, in learning this, your career business growth becomes easy and enjoyable. I'm sure you'll be able to get that, right? Because once you are able to overcome these problems, the journey becomes much more interesting and happier. You can keep exploring. Once you get these tools and techniques, you can keep exploring yourselves more and more. You can become more focused and determined and develop high levels of confidence. You can inspire others by having better control over your thought processes and behaviors. So these are the very important benefits, right? When you are able to learn NLP, particularly in this context of dealing with this 4 major problems. So here we start, right? This is the core of the webinar today. So I just wanted to be focused here. The first thing out of the 4 major problem is the lack of very clear goals and the limiting beliefs that we have, which are no more useful to us. And the third problem is our difficulty in dealing with our emotions, which could bring in more stress. The 4th major problem is inability to create and sustain positive changes, right? We get inspired, we try and create a positive change, but we are not able to sustain that. So at some level, we know what is a new change that I need to bring in, but we are not in a position to actually sustain that. So let me repeat the 4 major problems. Lack of clear goals. We are very clear about what is that we don't want, but we are not very clear about what is that we really want. And we might be operating with a glass, I would say, glass space of our limiting belief systems, which do not permit us to operate beyond their limits, and difficulty in dealing with the emotions. So this is one thing that comes. So I have heard lots of people saying that I immediately react. I know that it is wrong, but I'm not able to have a control over myself. And then I regret it later. So NLP comes up with very wonderful techniques for handling these type of emotional hijacks and inability to create and sustain positive changes, right? Very simply, right? It's not just about being busy. It's not about just being efficient. It's being effective, right? What's the difference between efficiency and effectiveness? So efficiency is right, is simply a formula, output by input, that has an algorithm like, right, comparing this output and input, and then making decisions based on that. So we can be efficient with machines, but when it comes to human life, we need to be more effective. And this is the key. And the effectiveness comes with what is that I can do new. So this is about doing things right, but this is about doing right things. might have heard about it. So what is the change that I need to bring in alignment with my long-term vision? So there should be a healthy balance in our lives between efficiency and effectiveness. Of course, we need to do things right. But as we are taking more of leadership positions, let it be a self-leadership or let it be a team leadership or let it be an organization leadership, right? The effectiveness kicks in. So it's not just about being busy, doing the same things again and again. It's about bringing in new positive changes, right? Leadership is all about preparing ourselves for the future and bringing in new changes, right? Sustainable changes, which can really give us a huge, I would say, return on investment down the line. So these are the four major problems that I think are keeping people stuck in their career or business. So let's look at these one by one, and also let's come up with some ideas, right? How to deal with that. So one thing is, how do we deal with that? How to learn to set very clear and inspiring goals? Most of us would be knowing that what is that we do not want. Very few of us would be clearly knowing what is that we actually and really want. So this is one truth, dear friends. It's, I would say, very pretty clear. Most of the times it takes around 1 to 2 coaching sessions to exactly become clear about what is that we want. So when we call it as moving towards goal and moving away. Which bus will you board when you do not know where to go? Right? So life is based on two principles. One is the pain principle. The other is the pleasure principle. When we set goals based on the pain principle, NLP calls it as moving away goal. I have a pain, I don't want this. Whereas a pleasure principle is being very clear about what are the advantages that will happen when I have this particular goal, and NLP calls it as a moving towards goal. Hope I am communicating. So our goal setting is primarily based on these two principles, pain principle and pleasure principle, a moving away and a moving towards. And both have inherent value in that. The pain principle is a big motivator, very big motivator. When there is pain, we take action. It is actually much easy to move from bad to good rather than good to best. So the pain principle is a very big motivator. Whereas a pleasure principle gives you a sense of direction and purpose. Then both are important. What will happen? Let's say what will happen if you do not have a moving towards goal? Only you work on a moving away. When the pain drives you, you might go anywhere. And you might end up with a bigger pain. From the frying pan to the fire. But we'll be taking very strong actions, very powerful actions when we run away from pain, when we want to move away from pain. But if we do not have a set direction and purpose, we may end up in a much worse situation. And this could be identified by certain problems that are called as signature problems. I have come across employees, who resign from an organization because of a boss, and they end up with a very similar or even a worse boss. Wherever they go, the same problems keep coming and again and again. That means that they might be working on a moving away goal. And without some clarity about what is the new change that I need to bring about myself, because all of us are part of our problem. Without us, the problem is not there. There are certain patterns within us that give rise to the existence of the problem. So without understanding that and creating a moving towards goal, it will be very difficult for us to, wherever we go, the same problem would come again and again, like a signature problems, and basically because certain patterns within us keep on creating the same type of problems for us. But we'll be taking action, we'll be going for changes, but wherever we go, the same problem comes. It means then we have an issue of signature problems, moving away without any moving towards. Hope I am communicating. On the other hand, the moving towards problem is a very pretty clear picture of what is that I actually want. We call it as moving towards. It gives a sense of direction and purpose. But what would happen if you only have a moving towards and don't have a moving away? Then it means we are settling in a comfort zone. We are having only dreams towards which we are not taking any concrete actions. So the question is, can I have a healthy balance between the pain principle and the pleasure principle so that I start taking action and I also have a very particular direction in mind? So this combination of a moving away and moving towards, dear friends, I would say, is a very, very important aspect of setting something which are called as well-formed outcomes. Another area in which the pain principle could be based on our reactionary goals. What are reaction goals? Reaction goals are goals which we set for getting revenge, wanting to prove something to someone. And we might be expending too much of energy and effort into the process just to inspire people whom we hate. So reactionary goals could be driving us, could be putting us on something which are called as a moving away goal. So I don't deny the enormous energy that comes into that. I don't deny that. But the question is that channelized? Is that having a healthy balance of a pleasure principle? And then the miracles can happen. So the question is, which bus will you board when you do not know where to go? So setting clear and inspiring goals may not be a deep driving this year. Again, this is a very important question. What is that you really want? What is that you really, really want? What is that you really, really want? This is one question that keeps you haunting in your NLP training. Because there is something which is called as an ecology check. Because you would also change in some way when you reach the goal. Unless you change in some way, you'll not be able to reach the goal. And is that change okay? Are you aware of this is how I'm going to change when I reach that goal? You need to have an idea about it. And when you change, people around you also will change. Your family members will change. Is that okay with them? So the ecology check, because without an ecology check, we rush into the process of goal setting, get the goal, and then find out that we have missed out something present in the something desirable in the present state, right? Goal setting is a journey from a present state to a desired state. But there are so many positive characteristics in the present state, which has to be preserved in the desired state. And we need to have an idea about what are those positive characteristics in the present state, which I don't want to lose when I have achieved that.
There's a question I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
I want to know what is the, can I identify from my goal? Am I, living in the pain principle or pleasure principle, and what is the combination? And how do we know that?
Exactly, sir. Right. So again, right, what is driving you to make the change? We can do that because is it because of the pain that is being created by someone, a person, or a situation, or a very specific environment, which makes me take action? Is it because I don't want this? Or is it because I specifically want this? I'm sure we'll be able to make I would say, a quite informed judgment. For example, I want to become an entrepreneur. Let's say I'm an employee, I want to become an entrepreneur. Why do I want, what makes me become an entrepreneur? Is it the pain of working for someone 9 to 5? Is it the pain of working for someone else's goals? Is it the pain of trading my time for my salary? What is the pain here? And what are the positives that are being preserved here? There is security, there is a certain level of certainty, there is a very specific career growth, which I would be missing out if I become an entrepreneur. So normally the pains here could be the positives there, or the positives here could be the pains here, but we need to make an informed decision based on awareness. That's my idea here, sir. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yeah, yes, sir. Still further, like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but somehow, the acceptance, the situations you are in, and
Yeah.
you are end up in doing the job.
Yes.
So, i- so what do we do in this situation?
So
Like,
in that situation, right, once you have
do I need to
understood,
change the goal? Yeah.
not necessarily. So what I would say is, if you're clear about what is the pleasure that you are moving towards, what are the pains that you are undergoing, and there might be some positives in the present state which you might be losing in the desired state. Are you okay with that? And then if you have made a decision, see, you can make a decision at a conscious level. You can also make a decision at an unconscious level, where unconscious would be frightened, right? The unconscious mind, NLP looks at it as a overprotective mother. And I have seen very many people, right, keep postponing this decision of becoming an entrepreneur. They would very much want at a conscious level, but at an unconscious level, there could be some hidden breaks. So that's why we need to go deeper and work with our unconscious. And normally, what else could be done to bring in confidence? Normally, right, when I work with people, right, who really want to become entrepreneurs, I would advise, right, the first thing they need to learn is a financial intelligence part. Normally, it is said, right, before you quitting your job, you need to have at least 6 months, right, of finances which can help you maintain the same lifestyle. I would put more. I would say you need to invest more and make it at least 1 year, and you should have certain other choices. So in the coaching conversation, we come up with these different fear aspects, right, which is preventing you basically from making that decision. And primarily to be based on, I would say, the pain. That could be some fear with respect to when you move there, you'll be losing certain positives here. Is it okay? So there is a conflict going on. How do you deal with the conflict is a question. And the answer is bringing in more awareness. So there is a conflict. There are two parts. One part wants this, another part wants this, and these two parts come from a value system. Where does the conflict come from? Ultimately, if you can do a value analysis, you will find in these cases the conflict is between freedom and security. These are the two important values. So it's actually, if you dive deep, do a very systematic value analysis, you'd find that there is an internal conflict between freedom and security. We want freedom, a part of us wants freedom. And again, right, a part of us also wants security. And it is our decision, right? It's our decision. And sometimes, yes, as you said, right, take more time, be an entrepreneur, be an employee, get yourself prepared, and maybe 2 years down the line, you can make the decision. That's also okay. But the ultimate decision has to come from the individual. And as a coach and as a trainer of NLP, I would help to facilitate the process using NLP structures. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Thank you.
ultimately, once you do the value analysis, right, you will find that particularly the top 5 values, we call them as core values. If you do analysis, it brings in lots of insights. So most probably,
Why I'm asking this is, sir, why
sorry,
I'm asking this, I also have one career.
yes, sir. Oh, career goal, right? You
Also,
want to grow in
I
your
gone
career.
through one of the career questionnaire where,
Okay,
yeah, where my professor told me that I was, on 3 parameters, I was above the certain threshold thing. So
okay.
he told whoever is more than uh, high score in this, more than 3 parameters, a job
Sorry, sir.
or
Your
into
voice is
careers.
breaking. Your voice is breaking. Maybe we can take it online, sir. Stephen, sir, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
yes,
we
yes.
can connect sometime later, and if you let me know the
Uh,
parameters, and then we can discuss that about this. But
yeah,
personally, I
okay,
find
okay,
it's
sir.
a conflict that would be
Okay, sir.
happening at a much deeper levels. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thanks
sir.
for your
Okay, sir.
question. So a long-term, well-formed outcome need to be based on your passion. Absolutely right. This is very important. Based on sustained inspiration. It's not a fleeting inspiration. You see someone doing something and immediately feel that I also need to do that. But is the question is the inspiration sustained? Is it based on your skill sets? Is it based on your deep driving desire? Trying to try and understand what is that deep within you? What is your unconscious saying to you? And we say that the unconscious is very powerful and benevolent. That is a very important aspect of NLP, very important presupposition of NLP. It's a very big, more than 90% of us. It's like the overprotective mother. It desires our security. It desires our happiness. So it's communicating to us. When we don't listen, it puts brakes. And unless we understand that and we make a deal, right? This is something very, very important. You need to make a deal with your unconscious. Because without the permission of unconscious, just at a conscious level, if you try to bring in massive changes, it's like pressing the accelerator and also the brake. So we need to go down, right? NLP offers a theory which is called as a parts theory. There are so many parts in our mind. Our mind is made of multiple parts. When there is a significant emotional event, a part is created. When there is a trauma, there is a part which is created. And each part would have its own, I would say, own outcome. It would have its own strategy. And there could be so much conflicts going between the parts. Unless we understand these are the conflicts that are going within the parts and try to resolve them, there is a 6-step reframe, a very important, beautiful process in which we can resolve the conflicts between the different parts in your mind. So very interesting step. You can just Google that. You will find some very good insights about that. 6-step reframe technique is a very wonderful technique which can help you resolve internal conflicts. So for you to really understand what is that you really want, right? NLP would say, get in touch with your unconscious mind. Get in touch, establish channels of communication with your unconscious mind. NLP basic practitioner program helps you create so many options in which you can listen to your unconscious mind. Setting up communication channels. We do feel that, particularly when it comes to gripping decisions, very critical decisions, we get insights from our unconscious mind. We might be looking at a logical level to come to this particular decision, but there might be a grip, which most of us call as an, I would call as an intuition, right? Which is illogical in nature, but still puts you in a particular frame of a mind to take a decision which might be counterintuitive to your logical part, but still that happens. So in a nutshell, right, trying to understand what is that you really want and getting inputs from your unconscious with respect to what are you driving towards is a critical key so that we don't regret our successes. I hope I'm communicating. Well-formed outcome should answer these questions. What is really wanted? Is it moving away or moving towards? Is it internally or externally referenced? Internally referenced, it's from who you are, basically who you are. Externally referenced are reactionary goals, trying to prove something to someone. Is it specific terms of BAK, right? Are you able to, right, bring in excitement and commitment into the process by seeing, by hearing, and by feeling your goal achievement? Once, right, once you have achieved the goal, how would you see that? What would be actually hearing? What would be actually feeling? These are critical things to help you set well-formed outcomes. If you want to go to southernmost tip of right, our peninsular India, Kanyakumari, you need to know how will you know that you have achieved the goal? Very important question. What will you see? What will you hear? What will you feel when you have achieved the goal? And I'm telling you, right, based on my coaching conversations, most of us, right, wouldn't be actually able to answer that question. You want to become an entrepreneur? What will you see? What will you hear? And what will you feel when you actually become an entrepreneur? That gives you a very clear idea in mind. If you're not getting that clear, then we need to work deeper. And unless we see that, we hear that, and we feel that, we may not be in a position to take strong action. You want to switch that career, jump, go into that another organization. You need to be very clear about what is that you're going to see, hear, and feel, and what are you going to get when you change the organization. I hope I'm communicating. And then, of course, there is an ecology check. We need to identify what are the positives in our present state and how much we can preserve that in the desired state. And even if you are to lose some positive characteristics, positive attributes in the present state, is it okay? Can I manage that? Because when you become more successful, maybe you will be spending less time with your family, obviously. Is that okay? You need to travel more. Maybe you might be missing time with your family. Is that okay? Can you talk with your family members and make them understand this is what is going to happen, and can they deal with that? Get their buy-in, get them into the same page. Problem 2, limiting beliefs, right? Understand that beliefs are based on past experiences and need not be true. So this is one thing, dear friends, right? Our ability, NLP very powerfully works on our belief systems. Belief is actually, right, there are no right or wrong beliefs, and beliefs are structures, right? Our experiences which have arranged in very specific structures, and they are generally called as generalizations. So there are no right or wrong beliefs. Beliefs are either useful or not useful. The belief I am a good communicator, I am not a good communicator, or not really true. So one thing that NLP teaches you is that your belief need not be true. It is based on your past experiences. It also says that 3 experiences are sufficient to form a belief system, and very powerful experiences, particularly very negative powerful experiences, are called as traumas. And very strong beliefs could bring in phobias. So belief is nothing but, I would say, a structure of experiences which we have gathered from the past experiences, and the more rigid they become, they are having a bigger hold onto us. So it's simply like that, right? A table held up by a few legs. The table is a belief, the upper part of the table is a belief, and the legs are experiences that we had in the past which are holding to that particular belief. And once the problem is, once we have a belief, we believe that it is true. And what we do is we delete any evidence that is not in alignment with this belief. We do it at a conscious or an unconscious level. If you believe a person is good, then you deny or you delete any other experiences which is otherwise. If you believe a person is bad, then we'll be deleting so many other data, so many other evidences which proves that he's not really bad, he's a good guy. So we generalize based on our past experiences. We put people, things, objects, experiences in specific pigeonholes, preconceived notions, and whatever is contrary to that, we don't accept that, we delete that, and then we also start believing that this is the only way. That is the concept of distortion. So if a guy is bad, he's always bad. He cannot be good. And we also come up with so many other distortions based on our past experiences. A husband should be like this. The wife should be like this. Children should be like this. The more we use, you can identify the distortion by the words which you use: should, must, or else. So in a nutshell, we generalize, whatever contrary is we delete, and then we believe that that belief is the ultimate truth, and we start creating strong frames through which we look at the world. Distortions are frames. We believe something, and then we come to that idea that something which is not fitting in this belief with this frame is not good. That is called as distortion. And remember, friends, all our sufferings come from distortion. Of course, right? There are all the 3 put together: the generalization, the deletion, and the distortion. We call it as a GDD framework. The generalization, deletion, distortion is called as a map of an individual. NLP comes up with the idea map is not the territory. So believe I'm a good communicator, I'm not a good communicator, both are not really true. But the more person believes them, the more they appear true for him. So it is more useful to have a belief I'm a good communicator, even though it need not be necessarily true always. So instead of classifying, putting things as right or wrong, NLP, right, would want you to classify things as useful or not useful. Of course, we live in a family, we live in a society, we need to have concepts of right or wrong. But when it comes to personal long-term achievement, we need to have the ability to categorize things not as right or wrong, but as useful or not useful with respect to my ability, my possibility of reaching the long-term goals. So please type in the chat box and are you with me? If you have any doubts, we have some 20 minutes to go. I'll finish off in 20 minutes, 20, 25 minutes max. So please type in the chat box. Are you with me? If you're with me, if you're able to, if I'm communicating, please type in the chat box yes, or if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask. Thank you. So quickly, we'll move forward. So problem by understanding the structure of the belief system, by understanding the fact that we create our own belief systems, we also have the power to replace the belief system. So this is something which I really love about NLP because it empowers us with the idea that I can replace my belief system. Once I understand this belief system that which says I'm not a good communicator, once I start believing that, I generalize that and I start looking for evidence which corroborate that. Any evidence which is contrary to say that I'm not a good communicator, I delete that, and then I distort and say that I can never be a good communicator. So this is a trap in which we enter into that. And once we understand that I have the power to change my belief system, belief systems need not be true. They are based on past experiences. If we can choose to focus on something else, a contrary evidence, then I can replace my belief systems. Beliefs are mental structures held in place by our perceptions. By understanding that we have the power to rearrange these mental structures gives an enormous relief. By learning how to create changes in these mental structures, we can replace limiting beliefs with positive and more empowering beliefs. I'll give you small techniques. How do you rearrange? You should be able to see yourself as a good communicator. One thing that you can understand is a strong belief, you'll be able to see that crystal clear. A very weak belief in your mind's eye, when you close your eyes, go down, you can identify how strong is your belief. So that's why we say we work with the U-turn statements. When you have a belief, I'm not a good communicator, you need to develop a U-turn statement which says, I am a good communicator. And once you think about that belief, I'm a good communicator, what is that you are able to see? Are you able to really see yourself as a good communicator? Are you able to really see yourself using the appropriate body language, the gestures, the tonality where you can really communicate well? Are you able to really see that? And believe me, the more you are able to see that, the more your unconscious will allow you to accept that. And here you can do something which is called as a modeling. See how a good communicator behaves and replace yourself in his or her position using the same body language. This is called as a new behavior generator technique. A wonderful technique, a wonderful technique. And believe me, right, we are always learning by this. We learn more than 90% by modeling. When we are children, we learn to model how our parents spoke, how our parents communicated. And we learn a lot of things from our first employer, first manager. Sorry, we learn so many things. You work with your first manager for 2 years, right? You'll be learning unconsciously so many things from him or her. There is a lot of unconscious learning that is going on. So you can choose to do it very consciously. You need not become a Xerox copy of him. All you need to do is just focus on the body language, see how it feels when it is like deliver with confidently, how it feels, and then you can integrate it, and then you can bring in your own ideas. You can retain your uniqueness and go to the next level. So that's why, right, we in NLP we say first emulate, then innovate. Emulate what is working, see what is working, do that, get results, get confident, and then you can innovate. I personally believe most of the startups fail because before emulating, they start innovating. And that could be a depth of cash flow, which makes us business fail. So see what is working in the world. See what is working in the world. Adopt that, emulate, and then you can innovate. There is once there is a certain level of confidence achieved, one there is a buffer, then we can always innovate. Hearing, what is that? You'll be actually hearing the affirmations, right, that we use. I am becoming a good communicator day by day, bringing into small chunks. You do not take big leaps. Your unconscious would not accept that small chunks. Every day, in every way, I'm becoming a better and better communicator. And feeling, right, the new behavior generator, using the body kinesthetics, just making the change in the body language. Remember, body and mind are part of the same system. Once your physiology changes, your mind or emotional state is bound to change because there is a status quo. They are part of the same system. Problem 3, difficulty in dealing with emotions, learning the truth about emotions. This is something phenomenal, which personally I would say I have lots of insight. Learning the truth about emotions and how to use them. Learning to be proactive, again, very important. Proactiveness is our ability to create more choices, not getting stuck in a single way of reacting, making ourselves a victim, the concept of moving from a victimhood to that of a victor. Understanding the ability we have to create more choices and choose the most useful one. So that is the difference, right? We have a creative faculty. When someone says something to me, I need not harshly reply back. Of course, I have been used to that, but maybe there could be some other way. I can just keep mum, go out of the place, or even have a smile, or ask a question. Do you know that only now? There could be so many other choices. Learn the structure of emotions and how to create changes in them, right? The structures have, again, the emotions have a structure. Listen to the messages. Again, this is something very, very important. Every emotion has a structure, has a message to communicate. Again, understanding the fact that there are no good or bad emotions. Every emotion is useful. Let me repeat it. Every emotion is useful. It has a particular structure. The structure is pushing us into a very specific behavior. Structure is a strategy part. I get an emotion and then there is a trigger that is happening. I get emotions and then I start doing this. So understand the structure. Where is the trigger point? And what is my internal representation? Strategy is nothing but an internal representation. I'll give you a small idea about that. For example, addictions are nothing but internal strategies, running very fast and very strong. A person who is addicted could have a trigger. And once that trigger comes, trigger is initiated. Maybe he sees the clock, it is 8 o'clock in the evening. That could be the trigger. And that could be a trigger of emptiness in the stomach. That could be another trigger, the kinesthetic trigger. Or someone says something, that could be an auditory trigger. And once that trigger comes, the emotion comes and the emotion pushes the person into individual activity, a series of actions, which is nothing but addiction. He ends up using that particular substance or even a tool. Maybe it might be a mobile, it might be a television, and that might be an addiction process running through. NLP helps you decode that. What is that particular trigger? What happens next internally? What happens next? And could you break the pattern? That's called as a pattern break, so that you are able to break that addictive strategy. It goes very deep. Try and understand how do we run a strategy. All of us have a buying strategy. All of us have a decision-making strategy. All of us have a spelling strategy. All of us have a relationship building strategy, which we run unconsciously. If they are useful, we can keep them. If they are not useful, we need to go deeper, try and decode that and create certain interruptions or pattern breaks. And using the power of disassociation is again very, very critical. This is a fantastic principle in NLP, ability to disassociate. What is disassociation? Your ability to see yourself as a third person as you go through that particular context of being emotional. The fly on the wall. These are called as perceptual positions. Fly on the wall. When you are getting into a heated argument with your partner, can you detach yourself and see yourself going through that particular experience? If you are in that experience, it is called as an associated experience. The trigger comes and then we become emoted and then we are having an argument. But somehow, right, NLP can create some anchors, very specific anchors, which can help you to go into a disassociated state, see yourself having that particular experience. And this is called as a disassociation. It's also called as a problem solving state. I'll give you two examples, right? I am angry is one state. I have anger in me is another state. That's the power of disassociation. NLP teaches to create anchors so that whenever that trigger comes, you can disassociate, see yourself going through that experience and create a pattern. NLP also believes that every emotion is useful. There is a message. For example, right, anger could be a very useful emotion if it is channelized properly, because anger is a high energy emotion. And you know, emotion is energy in motion. Particularly, there is a therapy called as a provocative therapy, where the purpose is to induce anger in a depressed individual. When a person is deep in depression, he may not be even, he or she may not be even able to feel anger. And unless they have an anger and it is constructively channelized, taking action could be difficult. So understand, right? Every emotion has a message. And then use the power of dissociation. Problem 4, inability to create and sustain positive changes, understanding and initiating change. How do we define change? Again, very important, right? NLP will teach you to understand that the real equation of change is this. When I say my past, my future is equal to my past, I don't change. When I say that my future is not equal to my past, that is the element of transformation. Howsoever I have been in the past, still I can create a future that I really want. So this not equal to, my future and past being not equal to, is transformation. You might be having so many carryovers from the past, so many generalizations from the past. You could come to have a belief it is very difficult for me to change, but we need to understand that it is a generalization. There we are deleting very many things. We are distorting very many things, and we have the power to work on this map of us. So the framework is a neurological levels of change. This is a fantastic, wonderful attribute of the Robert Dills. So these are the different levels of change, dear friends. The change can take place at multiple levels. The first most important basic level is the environmental level, over which the behavior levels of change comes. And then we have skills and capabilities, and then we have beliefs and values, and then we have identity, and then we have something which is called as a purpose, vision, or mission. So you go to a new environment, a new behavior can emerge. Go to a new city, a new behavior might come. And once you do that behavior repeatedly, it gets transformed into a particular skill or capability. Go to a new city, learn something, keep doing that again and again. It becomes a skill or a capability. And once you understand it is consistently getting me results, and then you start believing that you can do that, and you attach a value on the outcome. I do that, I get this. This is something very important. This is very valuable for me. And based on your beliefs and values, you can create a new identity saying that I am such and such a skilled person operating in this and this new city. And this identity can help you identify your purpose, vision, and mission. I'm talking in the positive sense here. So this is how normally change occurs, but you can speed change. You can make the change faster based on the idea that if a lower level changes, there is a 50% chance the upper level may change or may not change. But if a higher level changes, the lower levels must change. Let me repeat it. If a lower level changes, the higher level may or may not. It depends. But if a higher level changes, lower levels will change. For example, if you are able to bring in a belief system that you are a good communicator, then you will find that you are communicating well and you are comfortable with the behavior of communicating well, and that could put you in situations or environments where you can communicate well. And there have been instances where people have changed their identity overnight. You might have come across that. Overnight, their identity could change. Mostly can be because of a trauma, a negative trauma. Identity changes, and then their beliefs, values, skills, capabilities, behavior, and environment is how they look at the world changes drastically overnight. So big changes which have been in the which have been spoken of in the history, right? Change of Siddhartha to Buddha, and change of Mohandas Karamchand to Gandhi, right? If you can relate, right, the changes have been very fast, and they could have taken place at the level of identity or the beliefs and values. And that's why NLP is said to be very, very fast. Generally, it is considered to be very fast because it focuses on the change in the beliefs and value system of an individual. Any questions, friends? Are you with me? Please type in the chat box. Are you with me? Hello. Please type in the chat box if you are with me. If I am communicating, please type in the chat box. Please give me a feedback, please. Thank you. Thank you. So these are some, this is a very important neurological structure where we try and work around, particularly at the beliefs and values, right? NLP puts much importance on the beliefs and values because it's understood once the change takes place at that level, changes can take much more deeper levels here. Okay. So we have come nearly to the problem 4, right? Inability to create, sustain changes, learn the different levels of change process, environment, behavior, capability, beliefs, and so on. Identify the change that we want to create for a long-term goal. Learn how to connect change at lower levels to change at higher levels. For example, you want to exercise. Why should you exercise? Exercise takes place at the level of a behavior in a specific environment. Let me go back here. So regular exercising takes place at the level of environment and the level of a behavior. If you are able to connect this behavior to a higher purpose, one maybe you want to reach out to so many, that's your purpose, that's your vision. You want to reach out to so many number of people and create value for them. For that, I need to exercise. If I don't exercise, I'll not be able to do that. That brings in a huge amount of moving towards motivation. You want to be a person who is not dependent on other cells, who is not dependent on others, who want to be completely dependent on his own self. If you want to develop that particular identity, that's your identity, and connect the concept of exercising with that, you could make it more sustainable. If you can understand the value that you get out of exercising regularly, it could help you enjoy life more. That is a value you get out of exercising. And that you need to internalize, not just lip service. At a deep level, you need to understand, if I exercise, I can enjoy life more. That's an important value for me. Then it will be much more easier to bring in exercising as a regular part of your. So learn to connect change at lower levels to change at higher levels. How to be more purposeful and aim for higher levels of contribution and meaning in life. Dear friend, this is something pretty important, pretty important for particularly for leadership roles. So leadership is all about thinking beyond your current position. When you are able to think beyond, how can I contribute beyond, about, over and above my team to my department, you are becoming more of a leader. How can I help my department contribute more to the organization? You become a bigger leader. How can I help my organization create more value for the society? You become leader, a very top level leader. Purpose communicating. So we have come to the end of the program. So my request is do start contemplating and applying these changes in your life. I do hope that this webinar has been of use to you. So the next step in learning further, I just want to propose certain things. Right? If you're okay with that, only if you're okay with that, because it requires more deeper level of interaction to help yourself. So to help you out, I have launched a course, NLP based goal setting. Right, whatever we have talked about, they go much deeper, much more deeper with exercises, with documents, with downloadable documents, with exercises, with frameworks. A pre-recorded video course that helps you set and get what you want, whatever he has spoken, they go much more deeper. So what is this course for? Course for individuals, executive, business owners, faculty members who are serious and committed about setting and getting. So the advantage is it's a pre-recorded course. You can access this any number of times. How many number of times you can access this course? The exercises sheets are there. You can download them, work on them, repeat them multiple times. That is the biggest advantage when you are having this pre-recorded course. This for people who understand the power of goal setting and want to set very clear outcomes which inspire them and align them towards a long-term vision. The entire purpose, the entire course is driving you towards this long-term vision. This for people who want to learn about the process and elements of powerful goal setting, not only for themselves, put them in a position where they can help others also, maybe your team members who can coach them to help them set powerful goals. Imagine, if everyone knows in a team, if everyone knows how to set well-formed outcomes, I'm sure the team dynamics would definitely improve. You can coach your subordinates and even your colleagues, and sometimes if necessary, you can also coach your boss. That's a possibility. Once you understand the process of well-formed outcomes, the course details 10 videos, more than 100 minutes of high-value content, small videos. Application-oriented videos, e-certificate on course completion, anytime access for 1 year. So I have put this 1 year because of a very specific reason, so that I just want you to finish that course in 1 year. I know, there are some people who keep on buying the course without completing them. I don't want that to happen. So I have limited my access to 1 year just to ensure that you complete the course. 10 videos, 100 minutes of high-value content, lots of exercises, downloadable exercises sheets, and an e-certificate on course completion. Based on time-tested NLP principles and practices, what will you exactly learn in this program, in this goal-setting program, NLP goal setting? What is NLP? NLP principles and practices. We have a deep dive, core principles and practices, we understand that, and then the introduction to goal-setting process, the 3 P's of goal setting. That's a very useful way in which you can approach your goal-setting process, and creating well-formed outcomes by the questioning process, internal resources required for achieving well-formed outcomes. So these are the things that you learn. I also have a free bonus, for action takers today. There is another course of mine, the 3 steps of assertive communication and career growth, because I feel you are an executive or you are a business owner, assertive communication helps you very powerfully. So the 3 steps of assertive communication and career growth is another program of mine, which is again 20 videos. It also goes around 60 to 75 minutes. It's a well-reached, I would say, well-appreciated program, well-received program. Many people have bought this. And for those of you who enroll for this course today, you'll be getting another online course, the 3 steps of assertive communication and career growth, with stipulated access time for 1 year. This is also for 1 year, totally free. The value of this assertive communication is rupees 2,999. That is the list price. The list price for NLP goal setting is again 2,999. The stipulated access of 1 year. You also get a bonus of the 3 steps of assertive communication and career growth. Again, however, for action takers today, I offer the course not for 5,998. I offer it with more than 80%, around 83% discount. But for rupees 999 only. It's for today, You can buy this course. This offer is for you, for the participants of this webinar. And these are what you will get. You will get 1 year access to NLP-based goal setting, which has these main courses, and we'll also get the free bonus, the 3 steps to assertive communication career growth. This is a well-received program. It's also very rich in content and applications. I also have a guarantee. I'm so confident about the value of the program that I give you 100% money back guarantee. If you do not find value in the program within 7 days, right? This is important. Within 7 days, you are not able to find value. You can always ask for a refund, and I'll refund the money without asking any questions, right? Within 7 days, if you don't find value in these programs, then you can ask for a refund. I'm so confident that you will be able to find value, and I will happily refund the money if you're not able to find value in this program. Of course, once you ask for the refund, you will also lose access to the program and the bonuses. So if you have any doubts about buying this program, this 100% guarantee shows that you have nothing to worry. There is nothing to lose for you, as your purchase is covered by the 7 days, 100% guarantee. You have 7 full days to try and test this program. I give this guarantee because I firmly believe that this program can be of great help to you, great value to you. Particularly, I love NLP. I believe in the power of NLP, and I'm sure the NLP programs can help you. That is my 100% guarantee. So how to enroll? You will find an Insta module link. I'll type in the chat box. So I'll just type in the chat box the Insta module link. Guys, there in the chat box, dear friends, you can use that and make the payment right now. And you'll be given access to the course very shortly once it's there in the chat box. What is the opportunity? Definitely, right? Once you know the power of goal setting and assertive communication, I'm sure, right? You can, your career in business can really grow. It makes you become more, it become more easy and enjoyable. Keep exploring more. That is one thing, right? It's once you understand the taste of NLP, you never forget it, right? Keep on exploring yourself more and more. You can become very focused and determined and develop high levels of confidence, right? Because it's about you, right? You are the hero in your own life, and NLP is all about you. And these courses based on NLP principles and practices help you explore yourself more. You can inspire others by having better control over your thought process. That is, once you change, people around you also change for better. And the NLP change process is very, very inspiring. So dear friend, you have 2 choices. Once you can learn this on your own with the trial and error over a long period of time. This could be a hard and difficult way. Another way is to join this program. Just you can join this program, make the payment, and I will enroll you into the program. And special offer for the participants of this webinar. The link will be available for a very short time only. Once you make the payment, you will be enrolled into the course, and shortly you will receive an email with the login details. And also you have a guarantee, right? Within 7 days, you can always ask for a refund. I'll be happy to refund if you're not able to find value in this program, which I don't think is, it's very minimal. I firmly believe you will be able to find value. And if not, I'll be very happy to make a refund within 7 days. So thank you, dear friends, wishing you a very happy learning. Thank you for your time and presence. Maybe I can allot 5 to 10 minutes for any question and answers. Yes, friends, I'm open to any questions you want to ask. So any questions, feel free to ask me. And I can also just visit my other resources website. You can also avail those 3 resources that are also there. There are any questions, you can ask me, friends. Yeah, if you can, there is a contact form in the course itself. You can ask questions. I'll be answering the questions as quickly as possible. Maybe within a span of 2 to 3 days, I'll ask questions. I will answer the questions. But definitely, I'll answer it as early as possible. There is time. And I'll also be putting you, right, once you have purchased the course, I'll also be putting you in my NLP inner circle, where I do regular free webinars. Once a month, I do a free webinar for students of mine who attended my programs. I'll put you there. I at least do 1 free webinar every month for, I call it as a passion with NLP group. That group consists of people who are my students. I interact with them at a more deeper level. So you can also join those webinars, and we have lots of time to ask questions. And there is a contact form in the course itself. You can ask questions. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. I keep a watch on that. I do get back to you as quickly as possible. So there are any other questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, it's time to end the program. So once again, there is a link. So those of you who are interested in buying the course can do so by buying the course. Any other questions can ask me. So thank you. Thank you, dear friends. I hope this program has been of use to you. So from the base of my heart, I wish you all the best. Keep exploring NLP, keep exploring your life, because remember, the best business in the world is the business of working on ourselves. So wishing you all the best. Once again, my sincere thanks for your time and presence and participation. Thank you, friends. Wishing you all the best. Thank you.